Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a election prediction between Joe Manchin, who is a conservative Democrat, and Larry Hogan, who is a liberal Republican. Now, of course, this is very unlikely as both parties are not going to nominate moderates for their presidential candidates, but it would be interesting to see what happens if we put two moderates together in a presidential election. So, safe states for Joe Manchin: Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, um, New Jersey, Delaware, and DC. I do think that Maryland will probably be likely, just because Larry Hogan right now, of course, is the current governor. By then, he'll be the former governor, but that still probably would mean that he would be able to get at least to a likely margin for Maryland. But home states don't usually help at the federal level. So that's why I'm not going to be able to put it as lead or even flip it for the Republicans, just because it's really not going to happen. Maryland, you know, it's been a Democratic state for a really long time. I think the last time it was red in a presidential election was back in, it's got to be a little later than this. Maybe it was back in 1988 when George H.W. Bush won it by 2 points over Michael Dukakis. So it's been a little while since Maryland has been red in a 2024, or not 2024, in just an election in general. So which is why I'm not putting it as red in 2024. So safe states for Larry Hogan: Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska's at-large vote 1st and 3rd congressional districts, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky, and Indiana. I think West Virginia, just for the same reason, is going to be likely for Republicans, just because, Joe Manchin right now, senator from there, he won re-election in West Virginia by 3 points in 2022 or 2018, and in 2012 he won by a safe margin, 24 points, against the same person that he beat in the special election in 2010. So I would expect that West Virginia is probably going to be a likely margin for Republicans, just because of Joe Manchin's popularity in West Virginia and how he's been able to hold on for so long. But I would say that it probably will not flip, just for the same reason as Maryland. It just does not have enough evidence that we can say that it will flip. I mean, it's really impossible for West Virginia to flip, but Joe Manchin would probably put it as a likely state. So Joe Manchin's likely states: Colorado, New Mexico, Illinois probably will be likely. Maine's 1st district and at-large votes. And yeah, that's it. Colorado and New Mexico, both usually do the same things in elections. Though, I mean, the last time it didn't do that was back in 2016, when both of those states actually did different things, which is very rare of them to do. So it was likely and lean for Clinton. So I would expect that New Mexico is going to be the closer of the two, probably around 6 points. As you can see here, it kind of went a big swing for Colorado, about 9 points, while New Mexico only swung 2. So I feel like New Mexico is going to be around 6 points in this scenario, and then Colorado would be around 8 or 9. And then um, Larry Hogan's likely states, I think Iowa, Ohio, Texas, Alaska, and Maine's 2nd district will all be likely for Larry Hogan in this scenario. If we look here, last time, I mean, Iowa and Ohio, kind of like Colorado and New Mexico of Republicans, they always do the same thing. But in 2024, a regular election prediction, if we say, I don't know, like not Larry Hogan, not this election scenario, like Joe Biden versus Donald Trump or something. Iowa's going to be safe, and Ohio, you could make an argument that's going to be safe, but I'd say it's going to be likely. But I think that Iowa goes to Larry Hogan by about 12 or 13 points, just because, Iowa, I'm definitely, Joe Biden has no shot at winning it, but Joe Manchin should be more popular in Iowa just because West Virginia, Iowa, pretty common. There's literally nothing but farms and cornfields and all that other stuff. So, by the way, I'm sorry if I offend you if you're a West Virginian or Iowan, but it's true. It's literally all farms and fields. So they're in common. I mean, the voters are all pretty much the same, and Joe Manchin appeals to a lot of the rural voters, which is why he's been winning in West Virginia Senate races, which is why I would say that Iowa is probably going to be likely. And then Ohio, self-explanatory. As I said, it's most likely going to be likely in 2024, even if it is the most common scenario that was going to happen, which is going to be Biden versus Trump. Now, we can go to the lean states now. So lean states for Democrats. There really isn't a lot of lean states. I think Virginia is probably going to be lean. Minnesota will be lean. And most likely, we'll leave New Hampshire still there for now. But just reason Minnesota's lean just because, it's people are going to say, it might flip in, let's say, like Trump versus Harris. And, that's right. But, like, in this scenario, I feel like Joe Manchin would be able to win Minnesota in a lean margin. I mean, it was one of the closest states in the 2016 election. I believe the second or third closest for that the Democrats won. I'm not saying that it was the second or third closest that in general, because it would be like the fifth closest, but it was the second or third closest that the Democrats won in 2016. So I feel like it would be around 3 points for Joe Manchin in this scenario. And then Virginia, just because, Youngkin won its governor's race. It actually was 5 points for Clinton in 2016, and then it went to Biden by 10 points in 2020. And I think we can all agree that's going to be around 3 or 4 points in really any scenario in 2024. But especially in this one, I'm saying it's going to be a lean of around 3 or 4 points. Lean state for Larry Hogan, I think Florida, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and I mean, Georgia and New Hampshire, I still could probably leave out for now, put them as till, and then Nebraska's 2nd district is going to be lean. So we look back here for just a few of them. So North Carolina, not many people talk about it, but it was actually pretty close in 2020. People just say because, it's one of the fastest states that are trending left, even though it didn't really trended, it's trending right, not left. My bad. In 2016, it was 3 points to Trump, and then in 2020, it went to Trump by 1 point. Of course, 2020 was a blue wave, which is how Joe Biden won the presidency, which is why I'm going to say that North Carolina is going to be around 2 or 3 points. Actually, no, a little more for Larry Hogan here. And same thing in Florida. Florida has basically been the same. It's the same, actually trended just a little right in 2020. Just not more than a little, but it trended 2 points to the right. So I would say that probably Florida will be lean to probably around 4 or 5 points, about the same margin as North Carolina. And then we go look at the tilt states. Tilt states for Joe Manchin. This might be a little controversial, but I'm going to put both Arizona and Nevada as as tilt states, along with Michigan as a tilt state and New Hampshire as a tilt state. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. But I just wanted to show you guys what I was thinking. So, it all really ties back to Senate races for mainly Arizona. So, really, since really a long time ago, 1992, not Joe Manchin. Even farther back, John McCain, who was a super popular senator, he won elections from 1986 all the way up until his last election before he passed away. May he rest in peace, in 2016. So technically, he was senator. He won re-election. He won 5 elections as senator in a state that has been trending left a lot. And then in the special election, well, this wasn't really a special election. Special election was in 2020, when after he died, but this election happened before he died. But he died in 2018, so he was technically senator of Arizona for 32 years, which is a really, really long time to be a senator. But now they have a moderate as their senator, Kirsten Sinema, and I don't know if you consider Mark Kelly a moderate. I don't really, but I mean, everyone has their own opinion. And basically, Kirsten Sinema is, she's one of the most moderate Democrats in there. I mean, probably more moderate than Joe Manchin, arguably. And she won by 2 points in 2018. And I think that because of that, Joe Manchin would also do pretty good in Arizona. And then if we look at Michigan, I want to go back to here. Michigan, the biggest margin for Biden of the Rust Belt states, the key Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, that everyone had been talking about before the 2020 election. I personally remember that. And basically, Michigan would probably stay blue, probably be one of the closest states along with New Hampshire, which went to 7 points for Biden in 2020. But I would expect that it would probably be Michigan and Arizona plus Nevada would all be really, really close in the 2024 election if this scenario happened. And then I just want to talk about Nevada for a second. So basically, Latinos in Nevada, as you may know, it makes up a big population of Nevada. So basically, that's why I think that Nevada would potentially go to Joe Manchin in a pretty close margin, probably around 0.8, 0.7 points for Joe Manchin. And then the last 2 states on the board, Pennsylvania and Georgia, both are going to be going to Larry Hogan in a tilt margin, just because Georgia and Pennsylvania both flipped to Democrats in 2020. Both were pretty close, actually. Pennsylvania being the 4th closest state in the election, and Georgia was the closest in the election. So I do think that Georgia would probably flip over to the Republicans, but it would not be a lot, just because, Georgia's had a history of voting for moderates in the Senate. So that's why I think that Georgia would probably be close, but I think that Larry Hogan would be popular enough because of the moderates in the Senate that he would win it in a tilt margin. Also in Pennsylvania, they don't really have a history of voting for moderates, but they're like kind of moderates, kind of not moderates. So that's why I think Larry Hogan would be able to win that one too. Probably about like 0.8, 0.7, like around the same margin as I think Nevada would be. But I don't think that Joe Manchin would be able to win those. So I think that Larry Hogan would get 281 electoral votes. Joe Manchin would get 257 electoral votes. And usually if you have a generic moderate Republican versus generic moderate Democrat, just because of Joe Biden's approval rating, the Republican is usually going to win. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you guys in the next video.